This is what happens when you get a recipe, at least around our house. They come from several sources. One of them is magazines. Mrs. Claus reads magazines and she'll see a recipe that she likes, and boy, she'll snip that out. And the next thing you know, it's in a basket on the top of our refrigerator. And we have a full basket up there. So recipes like that they're not ever used in our house. The other thing is when you're at a party. Now, party recipes are good because you get to taste exactly what it is, and then you con the person that brought it out of the recipe. And mostly they'll give you, well, you take a cup of sugar and a cup of flour and about 6 tablespoons of butter, and you put that all over the top of the fruit that you've cut up, and you put a little bit of flour in the fruit. So you know how that works, okay? But now if it works really well, what happens around our house is it's John's recipe. Have you ever noticed that? All your really good recipes are somebody else's name attached to it. One of the best fish recipes I ever got for fish chowder, you take one of those blocks of salted fish, you throw it in a pot with some onions, and then you have another pot that you have the potatoes baked in. You cook up the potatoes, you boil up that fish, and then you throw the fish away. No, I'm sorry, you don't want to throw the fish away. You want to throw the water that's on the fish away. And then you break the fish up and you put it into the pot with the potatoes and the onions, and then you add milk and butter, and that's the best fish chowder you will ever eat. Now, you'll notice I never gave you any quantities. Well, the fish comes in a block about so big, so that can kind of set up the tone for the recipe. But how many onions and how many potatoes do you put? And you don't throw the water off the potatoes. You leave about half of that on there because it's got a lot of flavor. Best recipe you'll ever get for fish chowder. And that's Charlie's recipe. The other thing about recipes is my mother was a student of joy of cooking. She would try something, and if it was good, she'd make a notation. I remember there was a recipe for brownies in there, and it was no, 1,000 times no. But towards the back recipes, my father used to make baked beans. And we came from New England, and New England lives on baked beans on Saturday night. And my father had a recipe that was just excellent. So I have a recipe in the back of Joy of Cooking, Van's Beans. I wonder how it is around your house. And I'll bet you've got some recipes that you could share. So share with us. Go to our chat down there and put in your favorite recipe. Now, there's one other catch. Make sure you put everything in it that's there. If you leave out something because it's the secret to the recipe isn't going to be any good. So there you have it from Santa. And I'll remain forever Santa.